Hello there, Chris here from Becky's Models, and I've got a very strange tank to review for you today. This initially started out as just a plain in-box review, look at the instructions, look at the kit, blah blah blah, and then I got really excited, so I built it. And as I was halfway through building it, I was able to pick up the 1/72nd scale version. So I built that too. Let's have a look. Isn't this a weird tank? It's like a UFO had a wild night out with a T-34 or maybe a JS2. Oop, there goes the turret. And yeah, 9 months later they came up with this weird design. And yeah, even a 172, it's still quite a big beast. So enough of that, let's go inside and have a look. I think you might need a glass of vodka, because after looking at these tracks, because there's not just 2 sets of tracks, there's 4 to do. Good fun. Alright, let's have a look. This tank was developed towards the end of the 1950s at the dawn of the nuclear age. Its purpose was basically, it's a breakthrough tank, you know, big heavy tank to get through the front line and get across what could be completely destroyed terrain, or even survive what happened from, you know, tactical nuclear blasts. It had a big 135mm semi-automatic gun, a hugely armoured and very weirdly shaped hull with a very powerful diesel engine and a complex 4-track suspension system. Now, it still can't get over the logistical fact that as a 60-ton tank, it's unable to cross most of the Eastern European bridges or use any of the field bridges. So logistics win wars, not fancy equipment, and so yeah, if you can't get to the battlefield, radioactive or not, you can't win. So this was an experiment, it failed, they only made 3 of them. Alright, let's have a look inside the box. As you can see, it's got that vertical sort of, you know, there's that big gun sticking out at you. 3 in 1 means, I don't know, what does it mean? There's actually, I think there's a couple of turrets in here, so you can do different versions. I'll just flip this over. Okay, and you've got the short barrel and long barrel version with a camouflage, the raised suspension, because it's got a pneumatic suspension, up or down. And you get a figure. You do get this figure, which I'll show you in a minute. And Takom, they make a point of this, actually put the sprue map, exactly what you're going to get in the kit, on the outside of the box. That's a very interesting way of doing it. Let's open the box. Okay, you get the manual, and you get the first thing that you need your vodka for. You get no less than, what, is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sprues of individual track links. And there's even an ejector pin mark on each one. But it's raised, it's in the middle, you won't see it. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Why is that open? Oh, that's because I took the instructions out to read them. You get your little man, your little green man there. Look, I'll take this all out and we'll have a proper look at it. The instructions for the 279. Front page clearly states you've got 3 different versions. The regular 1960, the M, which I think is the short barreled, and then as it is, displayed at Kabinka in 2013. Let's open it up and have a quick look. Got the usual bump here about don't cut your own fingers off, don't sniff glue. And the sprue map will give you a clue to how actually relatively simple this tank will be to build. I'll explain in a minute. Let's move on to step 1. There's not many steps in this, because effectively you're talking about a tank that's got 2 hulls, they're like a clamshell. One fits over the top of the other. Underneath the hull are suspended these 2 booms, or beams I should say, where the suspension goes on for the 4 tracks. So there's 2 tracks to each boom. As you can see, there's the suspension arms attached to each one. They give you a jig to line up all those arms correctly, and knowing Takom, I've built quite a few of their armour kits. They're not as precise as, say, Tamiya or Meng. There is sometimes a little bit of slop in how they go together, so that jig is a welcome thing. Let's turn the page. And here we are. We've got the wheels going on to the boom, and then they want you to put some finicky parts underneath first. I wouldn't do that, I'd skip that. And then they want you to install 82 tracks times 4. They don't tell you that, but multiply 4 times 82, what's that? 160, 320 plus individual tracks that you've got to link together and put along here. Yeah, that looks like fun. Alright, moving on. Then they give the options to do the short barrel or the long barrel, and I'm not a fan of you know, having these barrels split down the middle. I mean, trying to get that muzzle brake to come out well enough, and that's the reason why I bought one of these. So it's got a 1-piece muzzle brake, 1-piece barrel. Yeah, I just don't think that's going to be a real struggle to try to keep that detail there when you're trying to get rid of that seam. And when we look further on, there's actually 2 turrets. Turret construction is a bit messy and a bit, sort of what's going on here. There's 2 versions are trying to fit on the same page. It looks relatively simple. Again, clamshell turret construction wise, a few hatches. There's not that many parts. Similarly, on the upper hull, there's only a few parts, a few periscopes to put in, some photo etch grills on the back, and some headlights. And we get a little bit more detail with just some grab handles and some rails around the major turret ring. And then it's step 16, for some very strange reason, they tell you to put the upper and lower hull together with all the tracks built. I mean, that's a very stupid way to do it. You don't do it this way. You would put both clamshells together to start with, let the glue go off, fix the seam around the edges, and then make the track systems. And actually, I would make them removable, so you don't. And I would paint and weather the tracks completely separately. Then you put all the delicate parts on. Anyway, that's how they like to do it. A few more parts to go on the back. Looks like the external fuel tanks. And then we pop the turret, one of two turrets on, plus the travel mount for the gun, and you've got the figure here. And they give you the colour callouts. Just have a look at the box art. They don't bother to put another one in. The marking guide, unfortunately, is black and white. Bit of a shame, because they've got quite a lovely colour here with this 3 camouflage colour, which I believe that's for the 2013 model. I believe that's a made up one that they did at the museum just to make it look a bit cool, whereas the original, the short barrel and the long barrel ones would have been in olive green, whatever the post World War II Russian green that they used. They're saying TS28 here, which is a Tamiya call out. Sprue Tour time. I'm going to start with Sprue C, which is a double up. Have a look at that. And effectively, you can build 2 turrets because, they give you all of it. Looks like, at first glance, I'll have a closer look, but it looks like all the parts are there for you to do the short barrel and the long barrel version. Really interesting. I don't know why, but, I guess you could swap the turrets later on and for different poses. Now, looking at it a bit closer, there's lovely cast, it's a cast turret. Cast texture all over, I don't know if you can see that there, catching the light. All the way along there, that's really, really good. Not getting many weld seams though. There's not really that many. Not many, there's none. I can't see any. Might be time to get out the old epoxy and make some weld seams. Looking at the parts, it's a mix. Takom have a thing of sometimes their sprue gate attachment not the best place, and sometimes it's a bit too chunky. And some of these finer parts look okay. But when we get to these grab handles, for example, that's, I don't know if they're going to survive the process of coming off there. Can you see that? There's some pretty big attachments. Got some slide molded coaxial guns there with flash on them. And they're not drilled out. You may want to consider getting some metal ones. In fact, I'll probably get a metal one because there's 2 types there. The rest of the parts look alright. Let's look at the inside. I'll flip it and look at the hatches have got ejection pin marks. They're all recessed ones, unfortunately, so they need to be filled if you want to pose the hatch open. Okay, looking at the hull halves. First of all, do they fit? Because that's pretty much all there is. Yep, fits nice. It's all good. Like I said in the instructions bit, I would put this together, have these 2 booms separate. I mean, there's a lot of gluing surface there, so it's really easy to glue them back in when you're finished painting and weathering, and then detail these up separately. Let's have a look at them individually. I might zoom in here. Alright, we've got some really nice detail here. There's some cast texture here on the back. That hatch is quite smooth though. Really nice detail. You've got some raised detail there, and some, it's some these panel lines here, which I think you can cut off these guards down the side here. I've seen 1 or 2 of these tanks built, these kits built with a few of these cut completely off, which is an interesting thing. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. The periscopes for the driver are, looks like they go straight on. Alright, let's look at the lower half. And the lower again, so yeah, there's those side bits with some big hinges. So yeah, it'll be fairly easy. Just get a razor saw in there. If you want to cut out a portion and make it look like a part's been blown off or been removed, that's easy enough. Got some really nice raised bolt detail there around where the suspension booms go, and we've got still a little bit of cast texture, but not as much as the turret. It's actually relatively smooth. You want to consider maybe adding to that. So the A sprue, which I think there's two of these, is basically all your running gear, and at first glance it looks pretty good. These are these two boom halves that fit together, all the suspension arms. The moulding's quite nice and tight. The wheels look really good. I can't see a mould seam in the middle of them. I'll just flip that over to have a quick look. No, they look all really nice, one piece, so that should actually go together quite quickly. And even these smaller parts here, again, I mean, Takom, let's just zoom there, Takom really use some big gates sometimes. You've got to be real careful with these ones here before they fling off to the to your floor. Alright, let's move on. Here's the D. If you like the D, there's the two barrel halves, which, yeah, with that muzzle brake, that's going to be relatively hard because it's got that raised, it's got those raised ridges on that brake. It's going to be hard to fill the seam on that one. And there's the shorter barrel there. Yeah, some of these other parts are pretty good. They say, look, Takom, they do a good job here with this mallet. There's some really good sprue attachment there, but on some other parts, I don't know what it is. I'm not saying it's terrible and it's unbuildable. We've just got to take a little bit of extra care when removing some of these parts. Although when they do these parts, for example, they've done a good job to put the attachment point, you know, where the part is going to go inside the tank. So, you know, cleanup's not that big of an issue. All right, moving on. I think we've got one more. The B sprue. There's not one of these. There's 6 of them. These are the tracks. Okay, and you've got 4 attachment points. You've got 324 tracks to make. It's 1,200 points that you need to clean up. So I would invest, if you're going to buy this kit, I would invest in a pair of really sharp sprue cutters so you can just do it all at once. This is definitely a part of the build that you're going to have to do while watching a movie or something, and just cut it off, you know, and trim and fit together. I mean, good on them for doing individual links. They're not workable, they're gluable, but maybe length and length would have been a better option. There is another option which I'll show you in a minute, but yeah, they look pretty good overall. Like I said, there's an ejection pin mark right in the middle there. Okay, and that should be covered by the wheel, but that's the only one I can see. So yeah, good luck with that. And the final sprue is actually quite a flexible sprue, this green one for the figure, which if you don't like painting figures, this is a good way to get started, because you don't have a face. He's only got a mask. Where's his mask? There's his mask head there. Okay, so that's really easy to do, and it's one piece, and it's one colour. He's got two weapons here, some sort of Kalashnikov. Yeah, it looks pretty well moulded actually. It's got good detail around the coat, the NBC coat, and you've got yeah, there's the respirator mask, the hose. That's actually done really nicely. Should be a good addition to your kit. The last few things to look at are some photo etch. So we got a nice little sheet of photo etch here. Okay, it's for the grills and a few little headlight covers and some straps. Looks pretty easy to put together. I've got very simple decals, just 2 120 markings, and just 2 headlights, one with a convoy light sticking out, and just another grill. That's pretty much it. Time to talk aftermarket. The first thing I got for this kit, which I thought was just vital, was some workable tracks. You know, something that has to be easier than just cleaning off all those individual ones. Now, I haven't tested these Master Club ones out, but I've been told they're better than the than Fruels, which I've found you have to actually drill out some of the holes. But you know, still, there's 400 track links, which I need 320, so that's going to be a fun experience putting them together. But I think it'll add to the to the workability and just the believability of those tracks. I showed it before, but I got a I think it's a Master Club. Can't remember where I got it, that barrel, but anyway, that's the 130mm barrel with the one piece barrel, one piece muzzle brake. Should be a lot easier to put together. And I got this. This is Takom's. It's from their KV5 kit. Okay, so it's another soldier with an NBC suit, and he's got I think it's got a flamethrower, this one. So I thought I'd add that one to it, and I've got another resin figure that I'm going to add to it. I might make a little diorama out of this. We'll see how it goes, see if I run out of patience with those tracks first. So, what does it build up like? Well, in a word, fine. Just fine, okay? It's not... I'll take the turret off because it keeps on turning on me and it's getting annoying. This is one of the earlier Takom releases. I've built quite a few Takom kits and they improve in quality slowly. They're not getting upwards of, you know, sort of Meng or Tamiya style fit and finish. And this is one of their okay kits. It's not perfect. It's good. It's adequate. Once you get the parts cleaned up, the fit is very good. I must say that. And the detail is quite good, particularly, and I'll use my little 172 barrel here to point out a few things. I mean, there's some lovely cast texture that's there on the front and back. Some of the other details, you know, they're going to take a wash. They're going to be pretty good. But there are a couple of foibles with the kit, and I would say the first one is not the best. Or I wouldn't say it's bad fit. It's just a little bit fiddly. I had to put putty all the way around the edge here because there was just a slight misalignment. Maybe it was me. Maybe it was the kit. I'm not sure. It's nothing drastic to fix. The other thing too is almost all the pieces you have to be very careful cutting them off the sprue, because yeah, some of the gates are either too big or a little bit chunky, and I would say that these air intakes here are the worst kinds. The one here on the engine decks, they put them. In fact, I'll have to fix this one here. You can see there's a big chunk taken out of there. I mean, they put some of the gates on the most fragile area of the part, which, yeah, it's very, very hard to get off cleanly. So I would not say this is a kit for beginners. Not just the complexity of the thing, because we'll turn it over in a minute and I'll show you why with the tracks. But yes, you can fight through it, and yes, you can do it. But for a first kit, no. Second, third or fourth kit, yes, you'll be able to do it. Nothing untoward. Now, one of the good engineering parts of this, I'll just turn it over, is building this whole thing. It is troublesome. I do like the fact though that, I bet you it won't. Yeah, we'll do it off camera. It's a very tight fit, so you don't even have to glue these in. I will paint and weather these separately, but I will not be using the kit tracks. I'll get to that in a minute. While I've got this out, let's talk about the engineering here. The suspension arms, these torsion arms, they go on well enough, but I would not use Tamiya thin glue to put these in. I would use a slow setting glue that gives you a bit of time, because the fit of the wheels to the axles on each of those arms is not precise, and I can almost see this one. I can see there's misalignment. It won't go in with authority. Okay, you need to use a steel rule and whatever straight edge you've got, and line them up while the glue is setting, and also to place it on a hard surface like that. Put some weights down just to make sure that these will set up properly. Okay. Because, like I said, while there are pins and there's holes and the usual sort of stuff you use to locate things, it's not precise. It's not precise enough. The fit here at the front, you can see there's a few gaps here I'm going to have to fill, trying to get some of these more fiddly pieces, like inside here, inside. Straight off the sprue, it won't fit. You need to cut and fiddle with the parts to get it in there. So I would say that this kit on average is just that. It's average. It will go together okay. You need to spend a bit of time, bit of effort putting it there. I'll move to the turret next and we'll talk about that. I haven't glued the hatch on because I'll probably have this one posed. The turret went together fine enough. I haven't put on all the parts because I'm going to do some modifications here at the back. So some of these grab rails, one of which I broke anyway, so I'm not going to use it. Yeah, again, the fit of the halves, you can see the Bondo that I've had to use there because I wanted to eliminate that seam. There is quite a sizable seam around there you have to fill, and also on the where the two surfaces mate here, I'm going to have to do a little bit more work here, and I'll enhance the cast texture of the hull there with some Mr. Surfacer or some Tamiya putty with liquid glue. Yeah, and just inside here the fit's not the best either. I put the barrel together, even though I said in the review I wouldn't use it. And yeah, I wouldn't use this barrel. It's particularly the muzzle brake, trying to get that to getting a nice clear one out of there. It aligns well enough, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of work trying to get that to look any decent. Apart from that, I can't remember any other major problems with the turret. The turret went together better than the hull, and yeah, overall. Oh, the last one thing is these fuel tanks on the back here. These parts don't fit properly. Okay, you need to trim. You can see I've got a gap there. I'm gonna have to fix, and I think I've got another gap up here. It's a small gap. Yeah, be careful with these parts is what I would say. It's a multi-part system. That's not, I mean, the fit when it does get together, sorry, I'll start that again. The engineering of it is interesting. The fit isn't good enough. So as much as I like to go on about I love well-fitting kits, I prefer well-engineered kits that if the fit's not that bad, not too bad, you can fix it, if you know what I mean. Now, it took me, I think I timed it, and I took a bit of time doing it. It took 2.5 hours to cut out all these because they're link and length, okay? They're individual tracks, which is an absolute nightmare. They should have done a long run at the top and a one at the bottom, and then just do, you know, a half dozen around the idler wheels and this drive sprocket. And yeah, I used 82 as they said, but it's not quite enough. I couldn't get it to quite fit. You can see that gap there at the front, okay? You know, perhaps it was my fault. Maybe I should have added another one and just had more sag. That's probably the best way to go. Go 83, don't go 82, because that's pretty tight at the top there. But yeah, it took 2.5 to 3 hours to cut that out, set it up. I used the Harry Houdini method where you put a layer of double-sided tape on the bench, you lay all your tracks down, use some slow setting glue, push them all together, let it go off for 10-15 minutes, then put them on the actual as one go, put them around the wheels, and press them all together, and you get the nice run there. So yes, this will take you 4 nights, 5 nights to make all those tracks. Put on a good movie every night. Don't put on Lord of the Rings because you actually watch it. You know, put on something a bit, I don't know, been entertaining you've seen about 100 times, listen to it in the background or listen to some music. But yeah, it will take about 8 hours to make those tracks. And or you can go to the Master Club, or what did I buy? I can't remember the name of the other aftermarket tracks, some metal tracks. So again, probably take you 2 or 3 hours, but you'll be able to do the whole run, no problem, and they'll be properly workable and with the sag. So let's move on to the 172 and my thoughts on that one. So moving to the 172, I'll just give a quick sprue tour of what you get in the kit. You actually get 2 full tanks in the kit, and I've just made the one, and I'll send this one off. I might give it to my mate Ross. He loves his 172 stuff. And yeah, it's literally a pantomime of the 135th. I mean, they've just miniaturized the whole thing, which is a good thing and a bad thing. And the detail is still there, more or less. You lose a little bit of the cast texture on some of these areas, and you know, they've molded in some parts like the tools and so forth instead. But moving on to the running gear, what they've done, which is a great improvement, is they've done proper link and length tracks. So they've done these long runs, and that makes it a lot quicker to do a full track run. That only took me, I think, half an hour or so. It's not perfect. I've got a bit of a wonky sort of thing going on there because the way that they use a jig to align these rear drive sprockets, but a lot easier than doing the 135th. So don't be put off. The tracks are about the same size as, say, a Panzer 1 and 135th, and with a bit of patience, I've glued them straight on because that's how I do it. I'll just weather them straight on like that. Moving to the kit itself, putting it together is pretty much the same as the 135th. As I said, they've reduced some of the details. I've added a bit of photo etch on that they include here. That's all they've done, the light guards and some sort of strap on the turret. They don't give you any photo etch for the grills or for the, no they do, they give you photo etch for the headlight guards, which I've left off for now because I want to put them on later. Yeah, not too bad, but one thing that shows up with Takom, and this might be just because it's the earlier version of their stuff, every single part on here from memory has got a mold seam. Okay, a mold seam or some parts actually look like that they were offset, that the mold slipped as it was being pulled out, and yeah, you get, I noticed that particularly between this part in between the fuel tanks here and some of the, all the tow hooks underneath, they suffered this fate here in the corners. Okay, so you have to get your loop out and you have to do a bit of resanding and fixing of parts. It's not too bad. I lost one sort of handrail there, but easy to replace with some copper wire. But as 172 kits go, pretty good. I would say definitely better than some trumpeter ones that I've done in the past, and almost as good as Tamiya 148. Surprisingly, the fit was better on this. The hull went together no problem at all, and the turret went together really, really nicely. I will have to do a little bit of filling down here, but apart from that, yeah, it's a lovely little tank, and I really, really enjoyed having to do length instead of the single track links. So there we have it, Takom's 135th and 172nd scale Object 279. Would I recommend this kit? First armor kit, absolutely not. It's got enough foibles and little traps and complexities in it that I don't think a beginner modeler would really would come away with an enjoyable experience. Second kit, perhaps. Third kit, definitely. If you're into small scale modeling, it is a good 1/72 scale kit. Probably not the best out there, but you know, Flyhawk have some better offerings for you there. But a very good kit, and also a good way to get what is such a substantial vehicle in a small scale, but not so tiny, like for example the Flyhawk FT17s, that you'll go mad trying to build paint all those details. As I said, the major letdown with this kit are the tracks, and the next one down from there would be some of the small fit issues, some of the fiddliness, but it's not enough to call it a deal breaker. No, in no way, shape or form. It's just you have to be a bit more fastidious. You have to be just a little bit more careful. And if you're really passionate about this subject, hey, it's not that much of a thing to go through. Like I said, if you're going to use a kit tracks, it'll take you a week of, you know, watching extended runs of your favorite movies and so forth, just monotonously taking the parts off the sprues and gluing them all up together. But I love the engineering, how you can take the bottom, the wheels and suspension units completely off, paint and weather, and then chuck them back on when you're finished. So overall, yeah, a great kit, let down by a few things, but enough to get over. And yeah, if you want something a bit strange for your cupboard or to show at the next competition, I would go for this. My plans with this kit, I'm going to go a little bit different, as is my want. Because the kit comes with 2 turrets. I've just off screen there. I've already started on. I might give it a little sneak preview. It's a bit different. I've added a few extra parts and things, and it's going to be a bit of a strange jumble of things. I'm doing a small little vignette with this, but I'll get to that later. Let's not confuse the things. The actual kit that. The full enchilada, I am going to do a few little changes and things to turn it into one of those post-apocalyptic sort of scenarios. Make a little small diorama or vignette with those figures, and yeah, do a bit of a strange camouflage scheme as well. Because the great thing about these what-if paper panzers, whatever the hell you want to call them, you can go to town, come up with any ideas you like. So I'm glad you got through the end here. Like, comment, subscribe, blah blah blah. You know what to do. And yeah, like I said, much prefer doing build reviews instead of just the standard inbox reviews, because you get a really good understanding of what the kit's like. And I hope you enjoy that too. And there goes that bloody turret. Get back here, come on. So he's doing a crazy Ivan on me. He's going, All right, that'll do for now. I'll catch you later, and happy modeling.